Okay, so I want to talk about pushing accounts through. I think we understand the sales process a lot of times, but don't know how to push the sales through. Speed wins. That's in South Bay, that's what we always talked about, speed wins. So I want to talk to you guys about the reason that works and how to do it. So first off, anybody that plays tennis, this is obviously a tennis court right here. It's common knowledge that this area right here is no man's land. So you serve it and then stay back and play a little bit more defensively, or you charge the net and play at the net, but you don't want to be caught in between. So I think sometimes our sales get caught in no man's land, and it's our fault, no one else's. We run up there and just kind of stay there. Sometimes it's because we don't know what to do. Sometimes it's because I don't know, we're a little bit scared to do it. I don't know. So this is basically pertaining to staying out of no man's land. Once our account gets in no man's land, it's hard to get out, it's hard to get it installed. So avoid no man's land. I actually had Jesse Store pull some data for me, and I had him pull the amount of time it took from sale to CAD, nothing to do with permitting, just to CAD, on the accounts that I installed. And then I had him look at the time it took from sale to CAD on the accounts of mine that didn't get installed. So in theory, there shouldn't be a difference, right? They should be the same because we're just talking from sale to CAD. The decision comes later. If someone's telling me that they're making the decision later, that's why I don't have them sign stuff up front or whatever, this data is really helpful. So just looking at like the last, I don't know, couple months, we'll say the last month. So in June, my sales that I sold that got CAD'd that were installed, my average time was 5.3 days, and the accounts that I had that didn't get installed, sale to CAD was 8.5 days. So it's a 3-day difference. It's really interesting to me. You can see that pattern through the whole thing. There's usually about a 1 to 3 day gap in every month. So I'm actually pulling this data for the whole region because I want to see it. I also want to see who's fast at getting that through. So this is an art. This is part of your skill. So you have to learn how to push the accounts through. They don't just go through. So that's why we're talking about this. So hopefully this is helpful for some of you. First, you have to understand the time lapse. So from the time you sell it till the time that the CAD comes back, you have to know about how many days that should take. Okay? So the first thing that's going to happen after you sell it is they're going to get the site survey. This should happen in a day or two. We're pretty fortunate in this regard. I think most offices are. Sometimes we get in little ruts or funks where we're a week or two out. Hopefully that's not the case. If so, it's a conversation to have with your DM and have them meet with the OM and figure out a way to fix that. But the site survey should happen the next day or the day after. So that's why I tell my customers when the site survey is going to happen, instead of saying, hey, what day works for you? If they tell me 4 days from now, that just took my 5-day time period that I have, and the odds of me getting that installed are low because if the average of my accounts getting installed from time of sale to CAD is 5 days, and it's 4 days before the site survey, there's not a very good chance that that's going to get installed, right? So I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that it's the next day. That's my goal. Same day is even better if you can get that figured out. So that should take a day or two. I also look to make sure after it's site surveyed that it says site survey complete. So that night after I had my site surveys, this is where you really have to be organized. That night after I know that I had these site surveys, I'll look and make sure that the ones that were site surveyed have the message that says site survey complete. So I know, or approved, or whatever the wording is. But I know that it got done, the stuff got sent in from Gemini, and now we're just waiting on the CAD, okay? What I don't want is for it to say, site survey scheduled, or whatever, pre-survey complete, because that just shows that the site survey hasn't been done yet. So if I see the next morning, the day after the site survey was supposed to be complete, that it doesn't say that, I'm going to send an email and say, hey, did this get site surveyed? Here's the AR. What happened with this? Oh yeah, sorry, we forgot to upload it. And then I'm catching it, and that speeds it up. If I don't catch that for 4 days, again, what happens is my chances of getting it installed go down. So after that, it should show CAD complete. So after the site survey is complete, it'll go through pre-design. That usually takes a day, and then CAD complete will take a day or two. So the whole process, I shoot for 5 days for me to be ready to do the CAD with the customer. Some of these months it was like 6 days or whatever, but I feel like it's pretty fast because I always made sure that was fast because I really believe that speed wins in this. So make sure you know that, and if your number isn't that, I'll hopefully get that to each of you individually, but I'll do it office by office so I have an idea. We can fix it and get it a little bit better. You'll see right here that I have a little bracket on this, and I have swing by visit. So this is actually something that I learned from Ty, but as soon as he told me it, I was like, that's it. I actually think I called him and said, there's got to be something we can like give the customer, leave with the customer to kind of extend our presence. And he was like, oh, you need to do a swing by visit. And I was like, that's exactly what I need to do. So the swing by visit is basically just saying, hey, what's up? You're in the neighborhood swinging by saying, hey. The purpose of it is so that they see you in a non-sales environment. They just see you coming by saying, hey, like you're their friend. I'll usually swing by the day of the site survey that afternoon or the next day. It's probably more common the next day just because I'm busy or whatever. But the next day I'll swing by and just say, hey, what's going on? Just in the neighborhood. I'll tell them about one of their other neighbors that we did this for. Oh, yeah, I was actually just over at these guys' house. Do you know them? Yeah, we've been busy. You've probably seen the trucks up and down the street. We've been doing a lot of work around here. Anyway, those guys come by, hop up on the roof. Okay, nobody fell off the roof or anything. Good. And then just kind of chat with them. And then as I'm leaving, usually the whole reason I'm doing this, in my opinion, other than the fact that you just want to see them in a non-sales environment, is I want them to ask any objections. I want those objections to come out now because I want them to ask me the objections on their time when they're coming to me saying, hey, I want this, but I want to know the answers to these questions. It almost shows that a little bit more. Plus, it's more comfortable. I'm just there swinging by. They ask some questions. I'm casually just answering them. We're not sitting down at the table before they've signed and hashing out details. That's the worst thing you can do. So if you don't get the PPA signed on the first visit, that's always what the CAD turns into, is you hashing out the details. Here's the line. Step over if you want it. Step back if you don't. Because it's easier to not step over, they just don't do anything and you end up not getting the install because you're following up, a couple days later, but your time from the time you sold it to the time it's getting installed is going up and that makes it worse. So, anyways, so that's the swing by visit. I think one of the things you need to make sure and do is you need to have lists, you need to have a to-do list specifically, because as I'm going through my accounts and checking for these things, I have to make sure that I'm following up on them individually. The accounts aren't just going to get pushed through on their own. You have to push them through. It doesn't say the accounts will get through. It says you have to push the accounts through. You have to do some work. So this will help if your DMs are having their weekly meetings with their team leads and making sure that the processes are smooth. If there's an issue in the process, let them know so, again, they can get it fixed. And then scheduling CAD. The reason that I set up the text message relationship is I want to be able to set up the CAD really easily. What I don't want to do is I don't want to get the CAD back and then call, leave a message, they don't call back, then I call them, they don't answer, then they call me back, but I didn't answer, so I try to get a hold of them, and it takes 2-3 days. I want very simply just to be able to text them and say, hey, what's going on? I'm in the neighborhood, we got your design back, I have an appointment between 7 and 7:30. I was going to swing by right after and show this to you real quick. It'll only take me a couple minutes. Say 8 o'clock, that work? Yep, it's really easy to say yes to that. Whether they're in a meeting, they're busy, it's really easy to say, yes, it works. So that's how you get accounts pushed through. The goal is to complete the process for the customer in a timely manner. You have to complete the process for the customer. Customers are funny. Us as consumers are funny because we'll have an idea and we'll like it for a second and then time just kills it. I actually experienced this for myself. I was just maybe 4 days ago, I was 5 minutes away from buying a car, and I told my wife, like, I think I'm going to buy this. And for some reason, the site went away, or it wasn't there when I went back, so I had to refresh it. I had to find it again. I couldn't really find it. And now I just I couldn't care less. I'm over it. I'm not going to get a car. I'm cool with my Prius. It's fine. But it's so crazy how we have this idea and we're set. And then something happens, we don't want to deal with it, and then a couple days go by and it's like, yeah, it's fine, I don't want to do that. So that happens with our customers too. which is why as this time lapse is happening, we have a refresher where we're following up with them so they remember. It's almost like, hey, I'm still here, we're still good. And then if it's done quickly, then the customer's still going to be on that kick or on that idea. If it takes too long, they're over it by the time you go back. They don't even care. They just won't do anything. So hopefully that answers some questions there, and hopefully we get these accounts pushed through faster.